It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Well, good morning, Butch. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Jim. I am so excited about this program in particular. We'll get into that in just a minute. But, My Great America with Jim and Butch has been an opportunity for us well over 150 episodes to talk about important things in the county, important things going on in the lives of people, and try to be light and salt in a dark and bland world. And Jim, we get the opportunity to do that each time, and today's going to be really special.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are special mornings here at Foot Hills. I know you have many talents, Butch. I've recognized that from the time we first met you. Very talented in many areas. I didn't know you were a photographer as well. Made the front page of the Daily Courier with a picture you made yesterday at the memorial service. I think that's great.
Isn't that something?
It's a good picture too, by the way.
I'm not a photographer, and we'll often say at my church that the only thing that we ever do that's good is whatever God puts in his heart. But talking to those RS Central color guard young people yesterday as they came off the bus, it was just great to see young patriots. Yes. And then you and I were standing there along with Clark Poole, the former head of the Chamber of Commerce. People had gathered for a Memorial Day celebration, and I felt prompted to pull out my camera and take a picture. I sent it to Pat Jobe. Pat Jobe sent it to Richie Starnes, the editor of the Daily Courier. And this morning, for the first time in my life, I got a photo credit on a newspaper article.
The angle's good. I like the angle. They were right here in front of you when you made the picture. You got that one young guy,
right,
and the flags as they went by. It was a great service.
Well, and I was standing right next to Jim. So it's in today's Daily Courier, and I know some of you think it's a fish wrapper. Think the Daily Courier is a fish wrapper. Richie Starnes is a friend. He's a good guy, and he's trying to do his best. So go out and get a copy. There are a couple of important things there, including an article. Camp founder O.A. Fish dies after 48 years of service. And, of course, he was an icon here in the area, and a living legacy remains.
It'll be greatly missed.
Jim, I've known you as many things in the time that I've known you. I've known you as an owner, operator of WCAB, the flagship radio footprint and broadcast entity here in the county and even beyond the county. Somebody that's incredibly involved in the local Republican Party, somebody involved at your church, Florence Baptist Church. But now you have a new moniker. Now you have a new title that can fall into line describing you, and that is you are now somebody that has taken a trip in an 18-wheeler, a FreightWorks 570 Peterbilt 579 Ultraloft with more than million-mile driver Bob Van Camp, and you went out and did that last week.
I sure did, and boy, what a pleasure that was. Bob Van Camp made me feel very welcome when I arrived there, and he showed me around the truck. It's a beautiful truck. It's like the Cadillac or the Rolls-Royce of trucks. I had a little experience with observing trucks on the highway. As I mentioned, as a little boy, I'd sit on the side of the road and pump my arm, and hopefully they'd blow the horn, and many times they did. And I played with little 18-wheeler trucks when I was a little boy. But being that close to one of those big babies is just really amazing and eye-opener. I did not realize the luxury that goes into those Peterbilt trucks.
Well, we're gonna talk about that for a minute, and this is not going to be an infomercial for Peterbilt, although they are a strategic partner, FreightWorks. And I told you before we came on air, one of the things I love about being a part of the FreightWorks team, among other things, is it's the first time in my life that I've ever worn a shirt that has like decals on it. I've got a Life by the Mile, which is our podcast patch here in the front. We've got the FreightWorks one, which is the logo there. And right here in Rutherford County, Jim, we have got a burgeoning, a growing transportation, trucking, and logistics company right there on Poors Ford Road. And in the days ahead, we'll perhaps have some exciting announcements about growth, even in terms of the footprint here in Rutherford County. But it is a wonderful enterprise, so important to the supply chain issues that we've just been hearing about. Front page news, top of the news feeds, and right here in Rutherford County, we have this incredible company, more than 10 years old, that started as a biodiesel fuel company, Josh Farmer, the founder and the CEO. And I want to make it very clear right up front. If you are somebody with a commercial driver's license, a CDL, or you know somebody that has a CDL, if you're somebody involved in trucking or want to be, or you're with another company even, you need to kick the tires on FreightWorks. And you can do that by going to FreightWorksTransport.com. One word, FreightWorksTransport.com, or you can call 828-375-8885. That's 828-375-8885. Right here in Rutherford County. And like I tell many people, when you go by and you see a police car from another county that's here, we want people to be homegrown. If you're a truck driver or you know somebody who's a truck driver, ask them to consider the possibility of FreightWorks. Wonderful company.
I asked Bob when we were riding in the Peterbilt up the road. He took me up Saluda Mountain, up on top of the mountain.
Oh, so you went up?
Yeah. It started raining on us. He said, now you'll get to see how a truck driver handles rainy weather. And he's very efficient. Of course, 1 million miles, I believe.
More than 1 million, yeah.
And I asked him in the truck, what makes FreightWorks such a great company to work for? And he gave me a litany of great things that he enjoys about being a part of that team. And with Peterbilt being such a substantial part of Rutherford County, we should really open that up and embrace that, because it is a major company growing by leaps and bounds, and Peterbilt is the top of the line when it comes to trucks. We're going to have them right here housed in Rutherford County. It's amazing what's being done out there.
Right, and you know what, Jim? We share so much in terms of our past, and I've said this many times before. You're like an older brother to me, and but you know what? I remember in the back of our Ford Falcon, before we had seat belts. I'm old enough to remember that, where we had iron dashboards. There was nothing padded. My dad would say, "You children go back there and play in the back of the Ford Falcon station wagon." We'd be crawling around. I'd sit back there, and if a truck was behind us, I'd look through the window there, and I'd go like this, and it gave me so much joy to pump my fist and have them blow that air horn. And so there's a little bit of boy in all of us, and you had the opportunity to take that trip. Now, for those of you that have wondered about the whole trucking enterprise in America, let me give you a couple of fun facts. A lot of people don't know these things. You know, the maximum load that trucks can haul in the United States is about 80,000 pounds. However, Jim, in Australia, they allow what you call road trains, and a tractor can actually pull 4 trailers, and that means that they're hauling about 300,000 pounds, which is really interesting. Now, truck engines. A semi-trailer truck engine is about 6 times larger than the average car engine. They can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. They give you up to about 1,800 more pound-feet of torque because they have 300 to 600 more horsepower. You know, in Europe, the European 18-wheelers have speed limiters that prevent them from going above 56 miles an hour. And while truckers in England aren't allowed to smoke in their semis, this is something that's unique about them, and a lot of people thought that might be a good idea here in the United States. There are about 1.9 million semi-trucks, maybe more than that now, operating in the United States. 1/3 are registered in California, Texas, and Florida. About 3.5 million drivers in America. And of course, there's been a lot of discussion about driver shortages. You know, there's a lot of recruitment efforts. That's one of the reasons why FreightWorks has a podcast twice a week called Life by the Mile. And I have the privilege to host that with driver stories, credible insights from the marketplace, from industry leaders. And it's a national podcast right here in Rutherford County. You can find it on YouTube at Life by the Mile. Go to lifebythemile.com, Spotify, Apple Music, all of the audio platforms, you can find it there. And then, of course, we love history, and so we remember that in 1898, a vehicle manufacturer named Alexander Winton invented the first semi-truck as a solution to transport his cars to customers. And then mud flaps. You know, people wonder about mud flaps. Maybe you've never wondered about mud flaps.
Never wondered about mud
Okay, well, I have, but I just have that in me to wonder. They protect vehicles, passengers, and pedestrians from mud and debris that fly off a semi's tires. They're also designed to improve airflow, reduce water spray from the rain on the road, and make the vehicle more aerodynamic. And in an environment where everybody's looking at fuel costs, which is so vital to the trucking industry. And yesterday I went to Exxon in the morning, and it was $4.44. And at night before I went home, it had gone up 10 cents in the day.
Wow.
In the day. So, but for an 18-wheeler, every year an 18-wheeler goes through approximately 20,500 gallons of fuel. You can compare this to the 500 gallons that passenger vehicles use each year. It's estimated that trucks travel about closing in on 300 billion miles a year collectively. And then people have often asked, why diesel fuel? The answer to that is diesel fuel contains more usable energy than regular gasoline. It actually contains about 10 to 15% more energy than gas, makes it a much more efficient way for trucks. They can go about 30% further on the highway. So, whenever you see a truck, it's more than a truck. There's always a story, a name, and a person. Solos and teams, you're out there just like Bob Van Camp every single day.
And he is such a courteous driver as well. I learned a lot about truck drivers in general. Most of them are courteous drivers, and the people may not realize when they're traveling in their automobiles, but truck drivers generally will let you in when you want to get in.
Right.
The flow of traffic will let you
Right.
pass the line there. And we don't think about that. We just rush our way, and we think, well, truck driver's in my way, I'm going to get around him. But generally, they're often courteous enough to let us in that way. And Bob shared with me some of the things, of safety features of the Peterbilt. And one thing
Talk about that, Jim.
one thing I liked about that, I kept hearing this beep sound. I said, "But what is that noise?" He said, "When I get real close to the white line on the right-hand side of the road, it'll beep and let me know that. So I need to slide over a little bit." And the same way with the center line. If it gets too close, there's a noise there as well. And so it keeps them alert, keeps them alive. And the spaciousness in that truck.
Describe for people in the theater of the mind, describe for people what it's like in there.
Well, first of all, a little short guy like me, he needed all the help he can get. So they have for little short guys like me, have the handles to step up on and step. When I sat down in that chair, or seat, I guess you call it a seat, I was amazed at how spacious it was. A driver, I'm sure, gets a better seat, of course. And I looked back behind me. Back behind was a comfortable bed back there,
right,
where they can sleep. Over to the left of that was a microwave oven where they can have where they can fix their meals. And I said, "Bob, this is like the comforts of home." He said, "It sure is, and it's very nice." Because he was driving this particular Peterbilt, he was driving that for the first time, and he was his initial run of the new Peterbilt that he's getting. It's an amazing day.
Jim, it's so incredible, and all of this came together. I want to make sure that our listeners know this. By the way, we're talking about FreightWorks. We're talking about Jim Bishop, the owner of WCAB. Boyhood dream fulfilled last week when he and Bob Van Camp, a more than million-mile driver at FreightWorks right there on Porras Ford Road, had the opportunity to take a ride together. This came about because Bob is a listener to My Great America.
He is.
He listens to My Great America, and, he's out there going coast to coast, and he had this little radio program that we do every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:05 to 9:30, right after ABC News at the top of the hour. He listens to, and he heard you and I talking at one point, Jim, about trucks and trucking and the fact that you'd never been on an 18-wheeler. And it was on his heart. He contacted me, talked to Joyce Sakura, who's the Vice President of Operations, talked to Josh, of course, the founder and CEO. And it was on his heart to facilitate you fulfilling this dream. And it all came together quickly. I put out a little note to the FreightWorks staff, 80-plus people that are on this one particular thread, and I encourage them to be listening, and some of them will be listening here this morning.
Good.
So if you had a word for them, what would you say?
I'll tell you one thing I would say to how fortunate they are to have a company that they're affiliated with that believes in the people. It's not just a job for them. It's a way of life that when I made the circle around it and met a lot of the people, many of them who I already knew, but everybody's happy, everybody's enjoying what they're doing. And if anybody I could say that was looking for a job as a truck driver, I would go to FreightWorks and find a job, because it is really a place to work. I'm impressed. I can't get over enough to know that we have this kind of operation right here in Rutherford County. This kind of thing you find in Charlotte, Greenville, maybe Atlanta, Georgia, would be housed right here in Rutherford County with that many trucks and more to come, more Peterbilt trucks to come, and the staff that they have. It's an amazing thing for Rutherford County.
Well, and you know what? It was recently featured in our own Daily Courier, a $13.2 million, I think, purchase of 75 new Peterbilt trucks, which is just step one in the whole upgrading of the fleet. It's technologically advanced. There are a lot of apps and platforms that are used to help drivers. If you have a CDL, if you have a commercial driver's license, or you know someone who does, even if they work with another company, have them kick the tires at FreightWorks. They can go to FreightWorksTransport.com, just one word, FreightWorksTransport.com, or call 828-375-8885. And you know, folks, FreightWorks is so critical, even here to our local economy. We're actually going to host, we believe, Friday, our new head of the Chamber of Commerce over at FreightWorks, because we want to make sure that when businesses are considering the possibility of relocating here to Rutherford County, they're aware of the fact that you have a growing, prospering trucking and logistics enterprise, because that's critical to so many other businesses, Jim, when they make a decision about coming.
I mean, I may have mentioned this earlier, but when we were riding up the road, I wasn't sure how far we were going. Bob was going to take me a quick run. And we were going up 26, and it started raining, pretty heavy. And Bob said, now you get to see how a truck driver handles rainy weather. So it started raining harder than he to slack off. It rained some more. So he said, let's just go up to the top of the mountain. We'll come down 40 and let you see all those trucks,
right,
slides, you know, where people, roadway trucks go. But it was very Bob is such a great guy and very interesting to talk to. And he has the history behind him to really talk intelligently about driving a truck. He's earned the right to talk about truck driving.
Right.
He's been with a record like his, 1 million miles. I mean, how many people can say that?
Exactly. And of course, our friend Bud Byers is somebody that's got 5 million miles. He's got stories to tell. And folks, I want to let you know too, we want you to encourage you to go to lifebythemile.com as well. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, Jim is going to be a guest on our podcast, Life by the Mile. You remember you were doing that, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And he's going to unpack in greater detail this experience he just had with Bob Van Camp. You know, one of the things about FreightWorks, too, is that it has strategic relationships, and its relationship with Peterbilt, an American company, been down to the factory there in Denton, Texas, is so important. And this Model 579 that you were in, Jim, is touted as the most advanced aerodynamically in terms of features. It's got improved fuel economy. It helps the bottom line of companies. It's got a new hood and bumper. They were designed for maximum aerodynamic performance. It's got a new air dam below the bumper that further improves everything related to it. It's got a digital dash. You notice that, right?
Yeah.
It looks like you're in the cockpit of an airplane. Bold design, state-of-the-art technology. It's got this lane assist that you were talking about that helps the driver. It's like having a co-pilot there with you. And then what they call a PACCAR powertrain, and it maximizes the miles on the road, tremendous payload capacity, efficient 12-speed automated transmission, and then, of course, driver comfort. It's got 8 feet of headroom, 70 cubic feet of storage, the largest mattress in the industry, spacious sleepers that can double as a comfortable and convenient office. So all of that is right there in the truck, and you had the opportunity. You're one of the few people in Rolfton
County
to have experienced that, Jim.
That's right. A brand new truck just got there.
Right, and we've got some video content that we're pulling together, and of course you can always look at these episodes, the archived episodes for our broadcast here, My Great America with Jim and Butch, on Facebook. There's a Facebook group specifically for that, and each of the programs are put there.
One final quick thing, I thought this was kind of funny. For those of us who grew up watching trucks on the highway and watching movies with the trucks, and so I asked Bob. I said, Bob, probably they don't do this anymore, but you don't use the radios anymore. He said, come on, good buddy. You know, no, they have all this fancy stuff now that they don't need the walkie-talkies or the what do you call it? CB radios. Yeah. But you see these movies, these old movies, they always talking on the CB radio. Hey, good buddy, what's your 1020? But they don't do that anymore. It's so modernized.
Right. But you know what we do have is you do have a lot of people that are involved in trucking and logistics that are so incredibly helpful to other people. They see somebody on the side of the road and will help.
Yes.
There are stories that are told often.
Yeah.
Told often about this whole area. And you know what's really incredible too is when you hear the stories of truckers helping out pedestrians and others. They're a kind and gentle folk, and because of that, American truckers in America have been called by some, including Bud Byers, the last American
Yes.
cowboys.
Yes.
You know, they're people that are really motivated to help in the community. With the few minutes that we have left, let's go ahead and do a giveaway. We're going to give away a FreightWorks cap, and if somebody wants to call in, Jim, what number would they call?
287-3356, 287-3356, and we'll take first caller.
Great. Okay, and we're going to leave a little medallion here for people as well, and it'll be a FreightWorks cap. And folks, we want to make sure that you know too, 828-375-8885 is the number for anybody that's got a CDL, or you know somebody with a commercial driver's license who may be interested in looking at a local company here, FreightWorks, or you can go to FreightWorksTransport.com. Now, we also want to make sure that people know that as the company grows, we want you to grow with us. And, you know, I look around the county as I drive around and I see people with trucks, and obviously there are companies all over the place, but this is homegrown. This is local. And in the spirit of buying your vegetables local, buying your meat local, it's a great opportunity if you're interested in trucking to be a part of a local enterprise that is growing.
I wonder if I give up this job of morning radio host if I could go get me a job driving a truck.
Well, you know what, Jim?
Probably past that age, haven't I?
Well, you may have, but what I will say is it was such a joy for Bob. He was very clear with me. He really enjoyed the time with you, and I have to tell you that you came in lighter on your feet after you'd spent that couple of hours with him, and we just love it. And you know what? There's nothing pretentious about WCAB. There's nothing pretentious about My Great America. And when you're involved in trucking and logistics, I mean, you have to suit up, as we often say, and show up every day. You run by a schedule. We have a lot of veterans, you know, maybe 22% or so of the FreightWorks drivers have served our country. It's a great opportunity for vets to onboard into trucking if you're a veteran. And we also want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that I want to make sure that you are aware of the fact that in the middle of your day, you can always go back to My Great America with Jim and Butch, and you can find that on Facebook.
Jim Light of Svindale won the cap.
Great.
He was the right caller, first caller. He got himself a cap.
What wonderful. All right. Well, we'll make sure that that Jim gets that. Now, you know, as we end, Jim, here with just 1 minute that's left, one of the things I wanted to acknowledge is that, you know, when you think about it, pray for the drivers that are out there. They deal with all sorts of challenges, not the least of which are regular drivers in cars that don't realize, for example, what it takes to stop a truck. And we want to bring you positive stories like this. And, you know, it bespeaks to me again, you're not just an ivory tower radio station owner. You showed up, you got in the truck, you went with Bob, and now you have the experience of being able to tell people, yes, I was on an 18-wheeler. So,
and I want to say again to Bob Van Kamp how much I appreciate his hospitality and his courtesy in showing me the ropes of being a truck driver.
Well, and again, this is My Great America with Jim and Butch. Today we've been featuring FreightWorks, a local company on Horsford Road. If you have a commercial driver's license or you know somebody who does, have them go to FreightWorksTransport.com or call 828-375-8885. You know what makes America great, among other things?
What?
Truckers.
Truckers. I love them.
You're part of that alumni group now, Jim.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.